The audio clip was only 8 seconds long. Leah needed 3 to know the woman calming a stranger through a recovery scam was her. When the screenshots arrived a minute later, they were worse. The WhatsApp profile photo beside the voice note was a cropped version of the verification selfie Leah had sent months earlier to a private anti-scam group. Same gray sweatshirt, same kitchen light, same folded note with the date written in black marker. The group had told her that selfie was just a security rule. Leah stared at the email, pressed play again, and listened all the way through. The voice was softer than she remembered, but there was no doubt it was hers. The message told a frightened victim not to panic, not to trust random outsiders, and to follow the reviewed process already in front of them. Leah had never spoken to the man who received it. She had never helped with his case. She had definitely never told him where to move his money. But somebody had taken her voice, trimmed it, and dropped it into a scam at the exact moment trust mattered most. The email came from a woman named Priya. Her uncle had already lost money in a fake crypto investment scheme. Then, while he was trying to recover what was left, another team reached out and offered to help, trace the funds. They claimed to be part of a victim support network. They sounded organized, careful, legitimate. At first, her uncle did not believe them. So they sent proof. Proof looked like a real woman with an ordinary face. Proof sounded like a calm survivor who had already been through this and knew what to do next. Priya wrote one line above the attachments. "I think the woman in these screenshots is from your group." She was. Months earlier, Leah had joined a private Telegram community called Harborline after a close call that embarrassed her more than she liked to admit. She was 36, worked in payroll, and usually did not join private online groups run by strangers. But a man she met in a Facebook grief forum had come dangerously close to getting what he wanted from her. He had not been flashy. That was the problem. He remembered small things. He asked about her mother's blood pressure. He knew when her dog came home from surgery. He never rushed the tone of the relationship. Then one day, he needed help with a transfer delay while he was between countries. And something about that phrase finally broke the spell. Leah blocked him before she sent the larger amount. She still hated how close she had come. That was why Harborline worked on her. It did not look like a scam warning circus. No screaming captions. No miracle recoveries. No admins promising to get everyone's money back. The banner was dark blue and restrained. The pinned posts were practical. One was called "How Real Recovery Teams Work." Another explained why frightened victims often got hit twice, once by the original scam, then again by people pretending they could recover the loss. The founder, Owen Ward, wrote in short, controlled paragraphs. He sounded more like a compliance manager than a hero. He never claimed to be law enforcement. He never played savior. He mostly emphasized caution, verification, and procedure. That made him easier to trust. The first thing new members saw was a verification post. To keep scammers and impersonators out, everyone had to send 3 things to the moderation bot: a first name introduction, a dated selfie, and a short voice note explaining why they joined. The logic sounded solid. Stolen photos were easy to recycle. Real-time dates and voice notes were harder to fake. Leah paused. Then she did it. She wrote the date on the back of an old utility envelope, took the selfie in her kitchen, and recorded a 10-second message from her car before work. "I'm Leah. I nearly got pulled into a romance scam, and I want to learn what I missed." An hour later, she was approved. For a while, Harborline felt useful. Members posted suspicious profiles. Moderators broke down pressure tactics. Someone in the group had built simple checklists for fake inheritance claims, fake logistics delays, fake emergency travel stories. Twice a month, Owen hosted audio Q&As, though never on camera. He said video made it too easy for scammers to clip faces and reuse identities elsewhere. That explanation sounded careful, not dramatic. Looking back, that was part of the design. Harborline did not ask people to trust anything outrageous. It only asked them to trust one sensible rule at a time. Leah gradually became more involved. She answered questions from newer members. She translated confusing bank language into plain English for older victims. One night, when a woman in Florida froze in the middle of describing a payment request, Owen asked a few longtime members to record short, calming messages the mods could keep on hand for distressed newcomers. Nothing personal, he said. Just reassurance. A steady human voice was often enough to stop someone from wiring money to the wrong person in a panic. Leah sent one. She barely remembered it later, which would matter. The first cracks were subtle enough to survive. Different moderators used the same odd phrasing. 3 separate accounts wrote separate channel instead of separate channel. The group's supposed legal contact never replied directly, only through forwarded admin text. One moderator claimed to be in Toronto, but kept pushing calls into a London-friendly window. Owen never joined video, only audio, and always had a clean reason ready. Privacy, active casework, doxing risk, scammers watching. Leah noticed the pattern. Then she did what people do when they want a system to be real. She let the explanations win. The email from Priya destroyed that option. Her uncle had already lost money in the first fraud. The second team approached him as recovery specialists who worked with victims behind the scenes. They did not ask for everything at once. They asked for process, a review, a temporary secure wallet, a short delay while tracing the funds. The language was cautious enough to feel professional. When he hesitated, they sent him a woman he could trust. Leah's face. Leah's voice. The clip was not synthetic. That was one of the first things she understood once the initial shock passed. It was just edited. Her original onboarding audio and one of her later reassurance notes had been cut together into something cleaner and more targeted. The breath before her final line was missing. The ending stopped too soon. A warning she vaguely remembered recording had been clipped off entirely. Priya's uncle had already sent $12,000 by the time she stepped in. Leah listened to the file 3 more times, then opened everything she still had from Harborline. Exported chats, screenshots, old downloads, volunteer notes, saved media. She found the original audio clip on her laptop and compared the waveforms side by side. The pause before her last sentence matched. The scam version had simply removed the caution that came after it. That alone was ugly. What came next was worse. One of the fake recovery messages in Priya's screenshots used a phrase Leah recognized almost word for word from a Harborline volunteer guide. Do not let urgency push you into the wrong lane. Follow the reviewed steps only. It was not just her identity being reused. It was the group's language. She kept digging. An old spreadsheet Owen once shared by mistake had columns labeled trusted greeters, clean audio, and verified faces. At the time, Leah assumed it was harmless internal moderation tracking. Now, it read differently. A dead shared folder link still exposed a preview of file names before access failed. Buried inside were labels like mentor_Leah_V1, mentor_Leah_safe process, and new member_verify_crop. Leah pulled up archived admin posts asking volunteers to re-record audio in quieter rooms because static made it hard for distressed newcomers to understand. She found another template asking members to hold up fresh dates for replacement selfies in case profile imposters copy old verification images. Earlier, those posts had sounded responsible. Now, they sounded like asset management. Then, a second outside victim surfaced in a public fraud forum. Different state, different account name, same cropped kitchen photo, same date card, same reassuring tone from a supposed support contact. The group was not casually misusing member material in one isolated case. It was packaging real people into a repeatable trust product. That was the moment the structure snapped into focus. Harborline was not simply a support group with a bad actor inside it. It was an intake system. It gathered real victims, near victims, and frightened people looking for safety. Then it collected the hardest things for scammers to fake convincingly at scale: ordinary faces, ordinary voices, and ordinary language spoken by people who genuinely sounded relieved to have found help. The verification ritual gave them a library. The volunteer system gave them scripts. The anti-scam posture gave them the perfect cover for a second fraud. Even Owen's restraint made sense now. Loud fraudsters triggered offenses. Harborline worked because it borrowed the tone of real risk management. It sounded like adults solving a problem, not strangers selling hope. Leah confronted the group just after midnight. She posted Priya's screenshots, the cropped profile image, the waveform comparison, the file names from the shared folder preview, and a side-by-side of her original message against the forwarded scam clip. Then she tagged Owen and every moderator still visible. For 9 minutes, nothing happened. Then the chat locked. The banner vanished first, then the pinned posts. Then the member count started dropping so fast Leah could barely refresh in time to watch it. By morning, Harborline was gone. Invite links dead, usernames changed, the audio Q&A archive scrubbed clean. But disappearing did not erase what it had already done. Over the next week, Priya's uncle was no longer the only outside victim they found. 3 more people surfaced through forwarded emails and public posts. Different cities, different losses. Same recovery language, same calm process, same insistence that a trusted support team was already reviewing the case. At least 2 of them had been shown proof that real survivors were helping behind the scenes. Filed reports, sent copies of everything she had saved, answered messages from strangers asking whether the woman in the screenshot was real. That was the part that stayed with her. Not Owen, not the disappearing group, not even the fact that criminals had stolen her face. It was the knowledge that while she thought she was helping scared people slow down and think clearly, her own voice had been used to push somebody else toward a transfer. Her own face had helped hold open that final second of trust. Leah had joined Harborline because she did not want to be fooled twice. Instead, she became part of the second version of the scam. And the cruelest part was how harmless every piece had looked on its own. A dated selfie, a 10-second voice note, a volunteer task, a calm admin explaining security. None of it looked dangerous while it was happening. That was the point. The group never needed one huge leap of trust. It only needed enough small, reasonable steps to make handing over your identity feel routine. By the time Leah understood that, Harborline had already turned real caution into a product. For at least a few weeks, strangers were hearing her voice at the worst possible moment and mistaking it for safety. Some of them listened,